Sometimes your breakthrough is hiding inside the thing everyone told you to leave alone. Surulere had its own rhythm. Loud buses, rushing workers, hustlers everywhere chasing something. Yet in all that noise, Emmanuel moved quietly, like a young man carrying a dream too heavy to drop. He lived in a small single room near Shitta, the type where you could stretch your hand and touch both walls. But to him, that room wasn't a limitation. It was a reminder of where he was coming from and why he could never afford to relax. Every morning before most people opened their shops, Emmanuel was already sweeping the frontage of the small provision store where he worked. The pay wasn't much, but he wasn't the complaining type. His goal wasn't comfort, it was escape. Mama Risi, the shop owner, always watched him with a mix of pity and admiration. "Emmanuel, you too humble for this life. You fit do better than this shop work," she said one morning as he arranged crates of soft drinks. He smiled small. "Mama, this one nah starting point. Better go come." But deep inside he was hungry, not for food, but for success. He wanted to break out, to do something big enough to change his story and his family's. His dream was simple but bold. Start a small logistics business. Just one bike at first. One rider. One chance. People laughed when he shared the idea. "You way never fit pay light bill? Logistics way big companies day run? You think say dream na into me?" But Emmanuel didn't argue. He kept planning, saving, working. He studied Surulere streets, Ojulegba, barracks, Aguda, stadium, calculating routes, understanding peak hours, knowing which businesses needed dispatch riders the most. One hot afternoon, after months of saving every leftover naira, he finally bought a second-hand bike. The engine sputtered, the paint was scratched, and the seat had a small tear. But Emmanuel looked at it like someone who just bought a house. He touched the handle and whispered, "You be small, but you go take me far." That night he couldn't sleep. While the street outside argued over football and generators hummed non-stop, he sat on his small bed, planning, dreaming, and building a future in his mind brick by brick. He didn't know it yet, but this one step, this small, shaky bike, was about to change everything. The first week of Emmanuel's new logistics hustle felt like a dream. He washed the bike every morning, polished the mirrors, and rode through Surulere like a man finally tasting his future. But dreams don't come alive without challenges, and Surulere was ready to test him. On the third day, his first real client appeared. A young boutique owner named Fola from Aguda. "You be rider?" she asked, raising her eyebrows at his worn-out helmet. "Yes, ma," he replied with his clean Surulere calmness. "Okay, help me deliver this package to Apanri." The job paid little, but Emmanuel treated it like gold. He collected the package, strapped it carefully, and started the engine, unaware that this simple delivery would shape his reputation. Halfway to Apanri, the sky suddenly darkened. The kind of clouds that gather without warning, Lego style. Within minutes, rain fell with full force. Heavy, angry, blinding. The bike slipped twice. Cars splashed him without mercy. Most riders would have turned back, but Emmanuel pressed on. His clothes soaked, his fingers numb, his teeth shaking, but he refused to stop. By the time he reached the destination, he looked like someone pulled from a river. The woman receiving the package stared at him. "You still delivered? Under this kind rain?" He nodded, catching his breath. "Yes, ma. Work na work." Word spread faster than he expected. Fola posted about him on her WhatsApp status. "This guy delivered in thunderstorm. If you need a reliable rider, message me." By evening, Emmanuel's phone began to buzz. One job turned to three turned to 7. And by the end of the week, he was fully booked. But as life often does, just when things started getting good, the big problem landed. One Saturday night, while returning from a late delivery near the stadium, a reckless Danfo driver swerved sharply. Emmanuel tried to avoid the hit, but the bike skidded and crashed into the roadside gutter. Pain shot through his leg. The bike's headlamp shattered. The engine made a weak coughing sound, then died completely. For the first time in months, Emmanuel felt fear. Not of the injury, not of the darkness, but of the possibility that everything he worked for could disappear in 1 second. He dragged himself and the damaged bike out of the gutter, breathing hard. His clothes were dusty, his palms bleeding, his future suddenly hanging in the balance. People gathered. "Sorry, oh. Hope you Daisy Road? Bike don spoilo." But none of them understood the pain in his chest. He looked at the broken bike, the only thing he owned, the only thing feeding him, the only seed he planted for his dream, and with his voice low and determined, he whispered the same words he said the day he bought it. "You be small, but you go take me far." He didn't know how yet, but he knew this was not the end. The next morning, Surulere moved on like nothing happened. Buses honking, vendors shouting, people rushing, but Emmanuel woke up with pain biting his leg and worry tightening his chest. The broken bike sat outside his room like a wounded soldier. The headlamp was gone, the handle bent, the engine quiet, too quiet. He tried to start it. Once, twice, nothing. His heart sank. But giving up wasn't an option. So he pushed the bike all the way from Shida to Bode Thomas under the early sun. Sweat soaked his shirt. His leg throbbed with every step. People stared, some even laughed lightly, but Emmanuel kept moving. At a small mechanic yard under a mango tree, he met Baba Sheriff, one of those old mechanics who had seen everything from Okadas to Destiny. The old man looked at the bike and sighed deeply. This one no be small worko. You fit fix am. But ego cost you." "How much?" Emmanuel asked, bracing himself. Baba Sheriff rubbed his beard. 32,000. Emmanuel felt the world pause. 32,000? That was nearly everything he had left. He stood silently for almost a minute. Then he nodded. "Fix it, sir." The mechanic stared at him. "You sure?" "Yes. This bike no be metal to me. Nah my life." Baba Sheriff smiled small. "You get spirit. I go help you." For the next 4 days, while the bike was being repaired, Emmanuel refused to sit idle. He worked extra hours at the provision store, helped vendors in exchange for small tips, even carried goods for people at Ojalegba Junction just to keep something coming in. His legs still hurt, but he moved like a man who had too much to lose. One evening, as he rested outside his room, Fola, the boutique owner from Aguda, called. "Emmanuel, someone recommended you to me. A restaurant in Aguda needs a dedicated rider. They're paying weekly. You interested?" His heart practically jumped. "Yes, ma," he said quickly, trying not to sound desperate. "Good," she replied. "Come tomorrow morning. I told them about your rain delivery." When he ended the call, he sat quietly for a moment. Sometimes life doesn't shout when it blesses you. It whispers. The next morning, he returned to the mechanic yard to pick up his bike. Baba Sheriff stood beside it proudly. The headlamp was replaced. The engine sounded stronger. The handle was straight. The seat was stitched. "Right am," the old man said. Emmanuel started the bike and it roared to life. Louder, healthier. "Ready." He exhaled slowly. "Thank you, sir." Baba Sheriff placed a hand on his shoulder. "Make this bike no just carry package. Make ye carry your destiny." Those words hit him deeply. As he rode towards Aguda for the restaurant job, the morning breeze hit his face, and for the first time since the accident, he smiled. Not because everything was perfect, but because he refused to stay down. He didn't know it yet, but this new opportunity, this simple restaurant job, was about to connect him to a blessing far bigger than he ever imagined. The restaurant in Aguda wasn't fancy, just a busy local spot called Mama K's Kitchen, famous for jollof rice and lunchtime rush. But for Emmanuel, it was more than a job. It was the first place to give him steady work, steady pay, and steady hope. On his first day, the manager, a strict-looking woman called Auntie Bridget, eyed him suspiciously. "You're the writer Fola recommended?" "Yes, ma." "You sure you can handle pressure? Our deliveries no day wait-o." He nodded respectfully. "I'm ready." From that day, Emmanuel moved like a machine. Pick up, drop off, pick up again. No complaints, no lateness, no excuses. Customers started mentioning him by name. "That boy day deliver quick. That Emmanuel rider no day joke." By the second week, Mama K herself called him aside. "My son, you dey try. Some boys dey ride carelessly, but you get sense. Keep 'em." Those small words pushed him even harder. But destiny truly shifted one Friday afternoon. Emmanuel was sent to deliver food to an office complex in Bode Thomas. When he arrived, the receptionist smiled. "Second floor, last office." He climbed the stairs, knocked, and a deep voice answered, "Come in." Inside sat a man in a crisp blue shirt, typing on a laptop. His nameplate read Mr. K. Adeyemi, Operations Director. He looked up. "You're the new writer?" "Yes, sir." The man studied him for a moment. "How long you been doing this?" "Few weeks for the restaurant, sir. But I dey deliver with full dedication." Adeyemi nodded slowly. "You remind me of myself at your age. Hungry, disciplined, serious." He tapped the table. "Sit down." Emmanuel froze. "Sir." "I said sit." He sat gently, unsure of what was happening. "Tell me something," the man continued. "If you had the chance to do something bigger than bike delivery, something with real future, would you take it?" Emmanuel swallowed. "Yes, sir. I want to start a logistics company one day." Something in Adeyemi's expression changed. Interest, maybe respect. "I like your confidence," he said. "Come next Monday. I run a supply chain firm. We need someone trustworthy for a junior position. Office work. Training included. Real salary." For a moment, Emmanuel couldn't breathe. "Serve me?" "Yes, you've earned a chance." He thanked the man repeatedly, voice shaking. As he left the office, it felt unreal. Just months ago, he was sweeping front of a provisions store. Just weeks ago, he was pushing a broken bike under the sun. And now someone was offering him a doorway into a real, long-term future. That night, he sat on his bed staring at the ceiling, the same way he did the night he bought his bike. But this time, there was no fear, only gratitude. He looked at the bike parked outside his window and whispered, "You really don carry me far." Monday came quickly. Emmanuel walked into Adeyemi's office wearing a neatly ironed shirt and trousers Mama Risi lent him. He didn't look rich. He didn't look perfect. But he looked ready. And sometimes, being ready is what opens destiny's door. Starting work at Adeyemi's supply chain firm felt like entering a new world. Air-conditioned offices, employees speaking softly, computers everywhere, and a structure Emmanuel had never experienced before. On his first day, Adeyemi introduced him to the team. "This is Emmanuel," he said. "Sharp, disciplined, and focused. Treat him well." Those words alone gave Emmanuel strength. He began as a junior logistics assistant handling document runs, inventory checks, and helping coordinate dispatch schedules. Most people would see the role as small, but to Emmanuel, it was a doorway. He studied everything: how orders were processed, how drivers were assigned, how clients were handled, how deliveries were tracked. Every night, he wrote notes in a small book he bought from a roadside vendor. He wasn't working for salary alone. He was learning for his future. 3 months passed, and something strange happened. Every department he helped wanted him back. "Emmanuel is reliable. Give it to Emmanuel. That boy dey try." His confidence grew. His salary helped him upgrade his room. He even bought his younger sister new school shoes and sent money home consistently, something he had always dreamed of. But the real turning point came during the company's biggest crisis. One afternoon, a major delivery truck broke down on its way to a corporate client. The goods were time-sensitive, and the client was threatening to cancel their contract if the delivery wasn't made before 6 p.m. Panic filled the office. People argued. Managers shouted. Time was running out. Then Emmanuel stepped forward. "Sir," he told Adeyemi, "I know a shorter route through Surulere that the truck's no-day use. If we transfer the goods into 2 smaller vans, we still make the deadline." Everyone stared at him. "Are you sure?" Adeyemi asked. "Yes, sir. I rode every route there for months. I know the shortcuts." With no other option, they trusted him. Emmanuel coordinated the transfer, guided the drivers, and escorted the vans through the fastest streets. They dodged traffic, used inner roads, and arrived 15 minutes before the deadline. The client was impressed. The contract was saved. The company celebrated. And that day, Adeyemi called him into his office. "You just saved us millions," he said slowly. "I didn't make a mistake with you." He handed Emmanuel a white envelope. Not salary. Not a warning. Something far bigger. Inside was a promotion letter. And next to it, a bank alert followed. It was more money than Emmanuel had ever seen at once in his life. He couldn't speak. Tears gathered in his eyes. Not because of the money, but because months ago he was pushing a broken bike through Surulere under the sun, unsure of everything. Adeyemi smiled. "One more thing," he added. "You said you wanted to start a logistics company one day, right?" "Yes, sir," Emmanuel whispered. "I believe in that dream. When the time is right, I'll help you stand on your own." Emmanuel couldn't hold the tears anymore. He bowed his head. "Thank you, sir. God bless you." Walking home that evening, the sky looked different. The breeze felt lighter. People passed him without knowing a storm had turned into sunshine. He wasn't rich yet. He wasn't a CEO yet. But he had stepped into destiny. And for the first time in his life, the future felt achievable. As he entered his upgraded room and saw the bike parked outside, Emmanuel smiled. "You really carried me far," he whispered again. "But this is only the beginning, where destiny completes the circle and the lesson becomes clear." 2 years passed faster than Emmanuel expected. He was no longer the boy sweeping shop fronts in Surulere, no longer the rider delivering food under rain, no longer the young man pushing a broken bike through the hot streets. He had grown in confidence, in wisdom, in purpose. Through dedication, he became one of the most trusted members of Adeyemi's company. His salary increased, and with each step forward, he saved not to live large, but to build the future he once dreamed of from that tiny shitter room. And when the moment finally felt right, Emmanuel approached his mentor. "Sir, I'm ready to start my own logistics company," he said, voice steady. Adeyemi looked at him long and hard, then smiled proudly like a father. "I've been waiting for you to say that." He opened his drawer and handed Emmanuel a folder. Inside was a partnership contract. A real one. Legal. Official. "I will invest in your company," Adeyemi said. "I believe in you. You've earned this." Emmanuel's hands shook. "Sir, why are you doing all this for me?" "Because someone once helped me too," Adeyemi replied softly. "And I promised myself I would never let the chain of kindness stop with me." At that moment, Emmanuel understood something deeper than success. Kindness is a seed. When it grows, it feeds generations. With Adeyemi's support, Emmanuel registered his business. Rizura Logistics, named after Rise. The word he repeated to himself whenever life knocked him down. He bought 2 new dispatch bikes, hired 2 young men from Surulere, and trained them personally. He taught them punctuality. He taught them respect. He taught them discipline. He taught them the mentality that brought him this far. And one evening, as he stood in front of his small but growing office, watching his riders return from their routes, something hit him deeply. He had become the breakthrough he once prayed for. Months later, on a rainy day that looked just like the storm that once tested him, Emmanuel stopped his car near Shida. He stepped out, walked to the small shop where he once worked, and bought something just to greet Mama Risi. She didn't recognize him at first. He had changed that much. "Mama, Nami, Emmanuel." Her eyes widened, then filled with tears. "See how God do am. You don become big man." He smiled. "No, ma, I never big, but I day grow." As he drove away, Emmanuel realized something important. Success isn't about leaving your roots behind. It's about returning to them stronger. That night, in his comfortable apartment, he sat on his balcony looking at Surulere's lights glowing in the distance. He thought about the bike, the accident, the rain delivery, the opportunities, the people who believed in him, the boy he once was. He whispered the same words quietly into the night. "Your beginning no fit decide your ending." And with calm confidence, he added, "But your mindset can." Emmanuel didn't just rise. He became a reason for others to rise too.